Okay, so there was a pop-up bar selling bone broth at a trendy clothing store in Toronto. They no longer are going to sell that broth anymore because the owner, a white woman, was accused of cultural appropriation by selling the bone broth. Ashani, is there something to this story here?
You know what? I think this is a story that feels so familiar because we keep seeing it over and over. It actually reminded me of the whole Allison Roman debacle from earlier this year, which actually feels like decades ago now. But it's that same idea of white creators taking recipes that are really sacred in a community and passing them off as their own with absolutely no consultation or involvement from that community. And the community itself doesn't benefit from the sale of those items. So when we talk about like appreciation, cultural appreciation versus cultural appropriation, that's to me why this feels
Mhm.
exactly like cultural appropriation. There was no benefit to the Vietnamese community from the sale of these products, and they were wrong. They were inauthentic. So I think that unfortunately, this is something that keeps popping up. And I wish that, the food industry, food is so ingrained and integral to culture. So I really wish these creators would like do the listening and learning, but action when they're thinking about these types of products and involving people who came up with the recipes in the first place.
Yeah, and I just can't imagine opening a restaurant, looking across the street, seeing the golden turtle, and thinking, nope, not going to collaborate. That was a beautiful opportunity to partner and collaborate with community and to root your work in community. And it was an opportunity that was missed, right? And so what we see here is we see once again, white folks cashing in, as you said, on traditional recipes and traditional cultures. I myself would much rather go to the golden turtle than go to a white clothing store's version of pho or pho or, heaven forbid, their jerk sauce. I don't even know what that possibly could have tasted like. But I do think that, there's an opportunity. We have to remember also that during COVID, a lot of East Asian businesses have faced a lot of backlash, a lot of racism. They're losing business. So now is
Mhm.
the time to support East Asian businesses, not compete against them by opening up a bone broth directly across the street. It's outrageous. But yeah, I wouldn't want to
It
try that
really
jerk
is. I
sauce.
mean, listen, yeah, I'm right there with you, Cyrus. I would say with this one is a very clear-cut case of cultural appropriation, like you were saying, Ashani, no doubt there. But then I actually had to stand back a little bit and take a wider lens look at health and wellness and cuisine to see, like, am I guilty of this? And the first place I went to was yoga. And the reason why is this is a wellness trend for North America, but this is a deeply spiritual practice that comes from India. And so I was like, well, wait a second. I've probably done those Bikram classes, probably by a non Indian owner and non Indian coaches. So, what is the spectrum with which we're guilty here? Because, I want to say, I don't want to judge this woman. It sounds like when she was told about herself, it sounds like she made a change. The latest update to this story is that she has, in fact, partnered with the restaurant across the street that is an authentic Vietnamese restaurant to collaborate now on her menu in her business. And I think when you know better, you do better. So I do want to commend her for learning and doing the right thing afterwards instead of being wrong and strong and maybe digging her heels in. But I'll stand back and say that we're probably all a little bit guilty, at least in this sort of health and wellness and cuisine, of somebody who's trying to pass it off and somebody else benefiting. And I wear the yoga pants like everybody else, and I don't think that that's an Indian owner of that big company.
I mean, here's the thing. When I first read this story, the first thing that came to mind, honestly, was we're not making our own broths. We got to go walk to a store to go pick that up. Like, we're not, what are we all doing with our vegetable scraps? Maybe that's because I come from a particular background, but this just brings up to me something, a Jamaican dish like oxtail, okay? We used to get ripped when we would tell our friends that we were eating oxtail. Guess what's the hottest thing on the market? And guess what now costs $8.99 a pound? Oxtail. Why? Because certain white restaurant owners now have found that this is a delicacy and it's become so mainstream. But this is what we're talking about when it comes to appropriation is kids growing up, people growing up have been told their food is either too smelly, too stinky, would never try it, this, that, and the third, and have almost had to like eat in silence or eat in their own groups. And now to kind of see like people profiting off of what you were once shunned for Yeah, that does feel like a slap in the face. So I think, listen, morals might not make you change your ways, but money sure should. So any potential restaurant owner that wants to do stuff like this, collaborate. Collaborate.